Hey, F you. Excuse me? ZZY, it's the Fuzzy Mike with Kevin Klein. The Fuzzy Mike Podcast.
Hello, and thank you for listening, subscribing, and following. If you're not subscribing on our YouTube channel or following the show, you know, you're allowed to. I mean, actually, we encourage it. I'd be appreciative if you left a rating and review. Now, this episode of the Fuzzy Mike, it's a little different from our recent episodes. See, we've kind of settled into a mental health and true crime concentration. Honestly, it just organically went in that direction, and the feedback has been super kind. So thank you. I'm grateful. Today, though, I'm really excited for you to hear this one. We recorded this on February 5th, 2024. In this episode, you're going to go behind the scenes of a successful morning radio show. It's a candid conversation on how morning radio works, how the landscape has changed over 30 years, and what a dominant morning team sounds like. Other than my 30 years together with my wife, Tim Tuttle holds the spot for second longest friendship, partnership, relationship I've ever had. We were morning radio partners for 25 years. I retired in 2021. Tim got out in 2022. We both missed the same thing about radio, the creativity, the conversation, and the camaraderie that we were able to build with you, our audience. When you listen to this, keep in mind, this is the first time we've been together in 3 years. Now, that needs to be said because there's something you can test in your own life there. Who's that person or those people you can be away from for a while, but when you get together, you instantly pick up where you left off? Those are friends that you have true chemistry with. Our chemistry, it was undeniable from the first day we met. And what you'll hear in this episode is what morning radio used to be allowed to be. Free-form banter without constraints. It's why we got into the industry in the first place. Now, Tim is freakishly good with numbers and dates. I don't know how he does it, but he is. I'm going to test him right here, okay? All right, bro. Lay it on us. When was our first show together?
June 13th, 1996, Nashville, Tennessee, L&C Tower.
What a freak. It was a Friday the 13th, wasn't it?
No, sir. Wednesday the 13th. Or
we did a Wednesday.
I can't remember that. I think it was Tuesday the 13th.
Okay. So, and then by the end of the week, we were the full-on morning show.
By the end of the week, John Lennox called us in the office and said, "You guys are taking over." And you didn't want to do it initially. You were like, "Oh, no."
Well, because it was Randy's slot. Yeah, it was Randy's slot. And I got to admit, you and I hooked up for the first time on the phone the other day. And then we did a Zoom call together. Dude, you look great, man. You look great. You look so stress-free, bro.
I've been off the air now 21 months.
Yeah.
And, you get a lot of perspective when you're not in a meat grinder. And let's face it, the last few years, when we were doing what we were doing, is a little bit of a meat grinder for many different reasons that we're not going to go into. But, once you get separated from that and you get a chance to take up things like meditation and everything like that, it changes perspective a lot.
It does.
And and I just, I'm not going to tell you I'm a different person, Kevin, but I'm a different person, Kevin.
Well, how so? What differences are there in you?
I don't sweat the small things like I used to.
Uh-huh.
I just don't anything out of my control and I let it go.
Which was really interesting because, you and I, we spent 25 years together, and our relationship and our business relationship was I was always the micro guy and you were always the macro guy. You're big picture, I'm small details. And that's funny that you say that you always sweated the small stuff. I never got that.
I wouldn't let the smallest things trigger me. Now, some of it was good. I mean, some of it put chips on my shoulder.
Oh, sure.
And that allowed me to really excel and perform and dig down deep. But a lot of it was distraction. A lot of it was unnecessary energy. And if I were to utilize that energy into other areas, I've wondered, hey, man, what could I have done instead of being angry about that or feeling slighted about that? Where could I have gone?
Yeah, but you said you had a chip on your shoulder. We both had chips on our shoulder because of our upbringing and because of the people who doubted us along the way. I mean, Michael Jordan got to where Michael Jordan was because he had a chip on his shoulder the size of America. So, I mean, I think that propelled us. I think that helped us out, bro.
Yeah, Kev, Chris Rock even said in his stand-up, he said, I don't mind bullies bullies put chips on shoulders, and if we're trying to eliminate and kill all the bullies out there and shut them down, then nobody's going to be inventing stuff. There'll be no stand-up comedy, So yeah, I mean, it's good to have a chip on your shoulder.
How would that have sounded when Chris Rock was saying that?
Don't freeze up on me. Hear me out here. That was terrible. I apologize to Chris Rock and anybody named The Rock.
Something I always admired about you, though, bro. You weren't afraid to get out there and sing or try an impression. It was
dude, the worst thing you ever made me do is when we had Steven Tyler in studio, and you made me sing "Amazing" to Steven Tyler, and it was the most horrific thing that I ever had. I still wake up in a pool of sweat sometimes at night.
Dude, see, that's funny how perception is so weird because you think it was the worst thing in the world. The audience and I thought it was radio gold. And I think Steven Tyler appreciated it too.
No, I think Steven Tyler was looking over at his people and going, how long do I have to be in this room?
Oh, yeah, because he wanted to leave. He was on the air live with us for like an hour and a half.
That was awesome. I mean, that was one of the great moments in our career.
Yeah. And we never went live before. With guests in the studio, and of all people that we go live with, he insisted.
Exactly, and I was a little bit worried. Johnny, he wants to go live, and because you and I like to control the situation. Trust me, Johnny likes us to have control of the situation. There, you're without a net. I mean, you never know what can be said live by Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
Were you surprised that he had everything under control as much as he did?
He's a pro, man.
Oh my God, dude, such a pro.
He knows the room that he's in, and he will adjust accordingly. Because I heard him the next day on a show that doesn't have any filters at all, and he was, letting the F-bombs drop and everything like that. So he knows where he's at, and he's just a total professional. I love him.
Yeah, he was talking real, is what he was doing. Dude, are you drinking? If you're watching this on YouTube, are you drinking cold coffee?
No. That's a straight espresso.
Oh, okay. All right. But
double shot of espresso.
You cut back.
No, I didn't. Double shot. It's a double shot every couple hours, Kev. I haven't cut back. I'm just trying to spread it out a little bit.
What have you been up to, man? It's been 3 years since we were together.
All right. Let me see, Kev. Okay. Walked away from 93Q 21 months ago, trading futures.
You were developing that program when we were working together. So I was working on when I found out you had your own company.
Yeah. You always have to be ready.
Tell me about it.
Terrestrial radio is a shaky business. I mean, it's a shock that I got 26 straight years doing morning radio with no breaks in between. That's a pretty good record.
That's a real good record.
But it's a very very volatile. So I've been working on that algorithm for a long time, back testing it, forward testing it, and it's great. But man, it's a lonely venture. I mean, it's me and a chart every morning the last 21 months, and I'm just like, you know what? I want to create again.
Yeah. That's what they used to call when the vice president danced. They called it algorithm.
Oh,
so stupid, dude.
Insert rim shot, Kevin Klein. Yeah. Just a few minutes in, and he's reeling them off. Let me tell you, podcast audience.
That's the same thing that I miss about being in the studio with you is the 3 C's. I miss the camaraderie, I miss the creativity, and I miss the conversation.
Yeah.
It
should be 4 C's out comedy, but obviously you don't want to put pressure on us.
Well, then it would be 5 C's compensation.
Look at you. Exactly. Yeah. How many times during our career did you think to yourself when you got paid or saw that you're like, this is ridiculous what they pay me?
Yeah, well, I never quite thought that because we always did work very hard for what we achieved, and it was always, you never, like you said, man, you never knew going in day after day if it was going to be swept out from underneath you. And that's not doom and gloom. That's just reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just wanted to be ready with it. And I was with the trading and, kept the rest of it, a little travel here and there. And man, I am bonding with my kids a lot.
Well, I was getting ready to bring up the kids.
I have 4 of the greatest kids that any father could ever possibly ask for.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got overachievers. I've got kindness. I've got, chill, gentle. I got funny. I got great personality. I'm very fortunate.
yeah, dude. I follow your kids on Facebook through you, and I'm just amazed at what Audrey has accomplished. I mean, I'm not amazed or surprised by it. I'm just amazed at, how successful she's become at a young age.
Yeah, I mean, graduates in 3.5 years from Texas Tech. She's 21 years old. Never had seen a B.
While being a Division I athlete, she graduated in 3.5 years. Dude, that's hard. That's a job, man.
We don't know if Audrey's allergic to bees or not because she's never had any. I mean, that's who that kid is. And now she's the associate athletic director at Texas State and doing a great job.
But as smart as she is, I think Jonas might even be smarter.
AI medical research.
Yeah.
Kevin, I have conversations with him that I just pretend I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, don't we all at that age?
I'm just like, wow, man, where did this come from? And he didn't look exactly like my brother did when he was his, Todd.
Yeah.
I would have questions for his mother. That's how different. I mean, that kid is just off the charts. And Dallas,
he can bend spoons, can he?
Yeah. Dallas is brilliant. And he's playing the saxophone now, and he's so good in comedy and such a great sense of humor. And Timmy, of course, the personality is just off the charts.
He's going to be massive, dude.
Yeah, he's a walking muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's his mama doesn't want him to play football, but he's in a small town. And when a kid a head taller with that muscular structure is walking down the hall and not on the football team, I mean, there's going to be some pressure.
Yeah, I'm not sure she's going to be able to dictate that.
They may have to start the NIL in high school.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing. And people ask me all the time, Tim, and that's a perfect example right there of what made you and Tim so successful and what kept it together for 25 years. And I always tell people it was the instant chemistry that you and I had in the promotion area, in the behind the scenes area in Nashville. What you and I have cannot be created, dude. It's just natural.
Yeah. I mean, basically let me translate what Kevin's trying to say. He put up with me, and he's the only one that put up with me.
That's funny because we talked to our agent yesterday, and you kind of had a scrambled signal, and he said, as far as Tim's relationships go, you're probably it. I'm like, well, there was no intimacy involved, and I think that probably is probably why it lasted.
Helps.
It does help.
And you didn't have to hang around me more than that 5 hours a day. So
bro, you and I have talked considerably since I left, and since you left too. And dude, it was great radio, man. It's great radio. And you don't find a lot of that anymore because there's people are walking on eggshells. People are worried. They just don't let it go. They're just, a lot of filters and we never cared. I mean, we like you were just saying, we were doing a morning show in the back room of our promotions office before we ever did a morning show on the air together. So. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you know what though, and you're a money man, you're a numbers guy. When corporations are shelling out multiple $1 billion for radio stations, that pressure that our bosses, our immediate bosses are under, that's coming from the top, man. So I don't begrudge them, and I have nothing against our management. They're getting it from the top just as much as they're giving it to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just all being passed down from the suits who go to those eyes wide shut parties.
But if they knew what they were doing to destroy the medium, I don't know if they would even comprehend. More music. Dude, you and I both know that when we were doing country radio, our playlist was the exact same as the playlist across the street. So what differentiates the station?
The personality.
And how many minutes do we get to talk an hour?
12.
On a good day.
Yeah. And Kev, that's, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it's going to be one of the things that will be in the obituary after the fact.
Yeah.
It's one of the. It's probably too late. They've probably already hit the iceberg.
Right? Yes, they have. Yeah. So, and that's
unless, of course, any executive in terrestrial radio is listening to this, we are the two people who will save the entire industry.
Well, we saved a lot of radio stations. That's no lie. That's no lie.
True.
I mean, dude,
I'm excited, Kevin Klein. We are. This is Super Bowl week, and I am pumped up about what's going on in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Kev. I wouldn't bet the farm because of my family's history.
Oh, I love that
of
story.
Betting the farm, but I would bet a couple acres of it.
Tell everybody about the bet the farm. That's
my
funny,
grandpa
dude.
George Schmidt on my mom's side. My mom was 1 year old in North Dakota. And Grandpa George thought there is no way whatsoever that this Joe Louis guy is going to beat the strong German und Max Schmeling. So he decided to bet his entire farm against somebody who thought Joe Louis was going to whoop him. Lo and behold, a couple weeks later, my mom and the rest of her brothers and sisters, they were walking from North Dakota to Milwaukee to live with family. True story. I can't even make that up.
But, I always wondered where your affinity for action came from, and it came from Grandpa George, obviously.
It's, you know what? It is a problem sometimes, Kev. I have to admit. If you remember the Fred Flintstone bet.
Yeah. So what's the over-under for Taylor Swift cutaways during the Super Bowl? Do you know?
I don't know what it is, but I don't understand why everybody freaks out about it. I mean, Kev, you and I have been watching football for a long time, very long time. As a matter of fact, some of my earliest memories are of names like Stabler and Bradshaw when we were little kids. And it doesn't bother me. Does it bother you that they cut away to her?
Not at all.
It's sheer numbers. I mean, they have a way of knocking everything down to sheer numbers, and they have figured out every time that we can cut away in the luxury box to Taylor Swift, we make $3 million. We're going to cut. I mean, those rights to NFL games are billions, man. If they can offset some of that by doing a 10-second flash into the luxury box at a Kansas City Chiefs game, they're going to do it, and I understand it.
Could you live that way? The way that she's forced to live under all that scrutiny and all that public attention?
I do not feel sorry for her one bit. Anytime she has any problems whatsoever, she'll just call her accountant, and within 3 or 4 minutes, she will be feeling much better about it. Now, there's one issue I do have with Taylor is she's got to get a little bit of control of the hardcore Swifties. I get it. You're a fan of hers. I am too. I like Taylor Swift. But if say, for example, somebody says, "Oh, it's the 13th today. It's bad luck," and you start chiming in, "Well, 13's Taylor Swift's number, and if you don't like her, blah, 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 and I want you dead and your family dead." Calm down, because Taylor's not that way. We've met Taylor and talked to Taylor from the beginning, Kevin.
I was going to ask you if you think she owes us any money because we were one of the first morning shows to play her record, Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw came out was it 06 or something like that? I don't know. She was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And we were one of the very first stations to interview 16-year-old Taylor Swift.
Yep.
And Tim McGraw, great song. We loved it.
Oh, it was amazing.
And Kev, I don't know if you remember this or not. I was blown away by the lyrics of her songs. I consider her the millennial Dylan. I really do.
Okay, and for the millennials who don't know Dylan,
has been for a long time.
For the millennials who don't know Dylan,
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Go read some Bob Dylan lyrics, and you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll be like, "Wow, where does that come from?" She's a genius.
Yeah, no, she really is.
And even at 16, I even remember in this interview, I said, Taylor, for somebody who should be, just basically watching Nick at Night every night, and Nickelodeon or whatever, you do some really deep and interesting lyrics. And you remember what she said? She goes, "I don't watch Nickelodeon."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I was her first exposure to goofy idiot DJ just trying to get a laugh.
You were a lot of people's first exposure to that.
I apologize.
No, dude.
I think there's a shot for it.
No, that's your personality, man. That's your persona. That's you. You know.
I'll tell you this. Over the years, though, we've had multiple opportunities to be in her midst and to talk to her and everything like that. To me, Taylor Swift is number 2, Kev, on the list of "Don't you know who you are? Why are you talking to me like this?" You know what I'm saying?
Who would be number 1?
I don't understand why Garth Brooks likes to spend so much time hanging out and talking to us.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like a 15-minute. I've had a 15-minute conversation with Garth Brooks a couple of times, and he's zoned in, and he's asking, "Oh, so Audrey volleyball, this, that, and the other," and he's zoned in, and I'm just thinking to myself, "You are Garth Brooks. I am a radio idiot in Houston. Why do you care?" And he's just an amazing guy. Taylor's that way too. I mean, Taylor was always very warm, and she seemed like she had a huge memory. I'd see her and I'd talk about it, and then the next time I'd see her, she goes, "Well, how's Audrey doing in volleyball?" And I'll be like, "Somebody just gave you notes, didn't they?"
Oh,
and she's just one of those people.
Yeah, she's got a huge index of information in her brain. One of the reasons that Garth Brooks does that, and he told me this when he was at Rodeo Houston, he loves the same thing that we love, Tim. He loves the conversation, and he doesn't like the conversation with people whose story he already knows. He loves the conversation of people like us who he doesn't know as much about. So that's why he's so fan-friendly. He loves to find out about people.
Well, you got to remember, he was the guy back in the early 90s who literally stood in the same place for 24 straight hours at FanFest in Nashville, signing everybody's autograph. Would not leave until literally everybody from the Nashville metro area had a Garth Brooks autograph. I mean, that's just an amazing guy. By the way, Kev, real quick, number 3 on that list, and you'll understand why I say this, Kid Rock.
Yeah, Kid Rock was awesome. Yeah.
Is that the great Kid Rock is serving Kevin Kline and I Coors Lights in his
Airstream trailer?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that the best, man? You and I were just looking at each other going, he's getting up and fetching us Coors Light. He's Kid Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. And that was like, maybe 30 or 40 minutes before he went on stage in Birmingham. It was just really cool. We were just hanging out.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think I disarmed him by saying, your performance in Joe Dirt was really, really not recognized by the Academy this year.
Robbie, that's a great movie, man. You know
what?
That
is a great movie.
This is how it works with Tim and I. He'll say something and it'll trigger something in me, or I'll say something, it'll trigger something in him. I wanted to try something with you. And this leads it into perfectly. When I run, it's boring. Okay. And you realize that too. I mean, you've always realized that. Klein, running that long, that's boring. So in order to occupy my mind, I come up with top 5s. Okay.
Top 5s.
And the top, and I always thought you'd be perfect to banter back and forth with me on this. I'll throw out a topic, and in my head, I'm starting to talk about, answers to this top 5. So the top 5 I want to give you, and you don't even know this category yet. This is the first time you've ever heard about this concept. Top 5 football movies.
Oh, top 5 football movies. Boy, that's going to be tough because there are a lot of really, really good ones.
I know.
It'll be tough to put them in order.
You don't have to put them in order. Just give 5.
Okay, I know it's cheesy and schlocky or whatever, but I really enjoyed it. Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves, The Replacements.
Okay.
It was about the guys who crossed the strike line and played ball, got some victories and everything like that. And I like Keanu Reeves as the QB. I thought kicker, everything like that. I love that movie.
Okay, I have never seen it.
You've never seen The Replacements?
No.
Oh.
And this is one of the reasons why I thought this would be a fun thing to do, because you're going to name 5 movies, and I guarantee I may not have seen any of them.
You've seen Rudy, right?
Yeah, that's not on my list.
I like underdog stories, though.
Yeah, but we know the real story behind Rudy, and nobody liked him.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It's like too fiction for me.
You have a nice, tidy list that's already laid out. You just threw this at me, so I'm fresh on it. I'm working through my list, I guess, right now is what I'm trying to say.
And this is how I occupy my mind. So I'm glad I could drag you into the hell with me.
Do you have Longest Yard on there?
The original.
Yes.
Yeah, with Burt Reynolds.
Yes, the original Longest Yard is brilliant. The one with Adam Sandler, it's okay. Do you have Any Given Sunday with Jamie Foxx as the quarterback, Al Pacino as the coach?
See, I always get that one mixed up with the Denzel Washington one. Was that Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans. Kev, I probably have that at number 1 or 2. Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen either of those movies, but I always get them mixed up in title. I don't know why.
Yeah. I just saw My All-American about Freddie, I think his name's Steinbach, the UT Longhorn, who, when they won the national championship in 1969, was diagnosed with bone cancer, had his leg amputated, and made it to the sidelines of the Cotton Bowl when they beat Notre Dame a couple weeks later.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a crazy. I just saw that one, so fresh on the head. If you would have asked me this a week ago, I probably wouldn't have had it on there because I never saw it, but it gets some kind of mention.
Well, that storyline actually leads me to my number 1. And I'm going to ask you to do the line because I know you know the line in the movie, Brian's song.
Oh, let me tell you about Brian Piccolo. Gale Sayers, the speech. Hey, Kev, even the theme song, when I hear Brian's song, I immediately, because you and I were young when we saw this, and it's football, and even though it's the Chicago Bears for a Packers fan, I mean, I was riveted and I was glued. And when he gave the speech, it was, who was it? It was
Billy D.
Lando
Williams.
Calrissian. I'm forgetting his name.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams. That's right. I love Brian Piccolo. And, in the speech, and I was like, and of course, Khan.
Yeah, James Caan.
James Caan played Brian Piccolo, the Chicago Bears running back that died of cancer.
Yeah, that's the backstory. They were teammates on the Chicago Bears. Billy D. Williams played Gale Sayers, one of the best running backs to ever play the game. And Brian Piccolo was the other running back. And Piccolo died at 26 from cancer. And it was there was a race component to it because Gale Sayers black, Brian Piccolo white. But man, dude, that is the biggest tearjerk movie I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, that was a hard one to watch. Initially I was like, I think I need some more football scenes. Shouldn't we have some more football scenes? Because it was like really heavy, but it was such a great movie. And so I can understand why that stops.
What else do you have? Do you know?
Well, what do you have? Let's work from yours.
Mine are dumb. So Brian's song I've got. I also have The Water Boy.
Oh, shoot. You got to have The Water Boy.
Yeah.
You got to have The Water Boy.
High quality H2O.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That is, without a doubt, one of the best movies.
Okay.
Football movies.
Now you're going to think I'm playing Homer on this one because it was filmed on the campus where I went to school and where your daughter now works. But Necessary Roughness.
Was that filmed at Texas State?
It certainly was.
Kathy Ireland was the kicker on that field.
That's why it's in my top 5.
Kathy Ireland. For those unaware, let me talk to millennials and Gen Z here. Kathy Ireland was Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
To our generation. Okay. It was like, wow. Yeah. She was the kicker in this movie. Yeah, that was a good one. Kev, real quick, one that I kind of liked because I really had a thing for her. I had a kind of a kid crush on her. Goldie Hawn in Wildcats.
Great movie. Yeah.
Nipsey Russell as the principal. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
that was a good one. What else do you have?
Varsity Blues.
Shoot. And Friday Night Lights, man. What am I thinking?
Well, there's a lot of football movies. That's what you said at the beginning of this. And that's why it's fun to do for me because I'll have these arguments with myself while I'm running.
Yeah, Varsity Blues was a great movie. John Voight was so awesome in that.
Oh, he's a jerk. Total jerk.
Yeah, he was brilliant in that movie. He was a great jerk. Yeah, that is a great. Was it Vanderbeek was the quarterback?
Yeah, James Vanderbeek and Allie Larder.
I love that one. And then Friday Night Lights, Billy Bob Thornton as the coach. I mean, that was a great movie. And then spun it off. The series was actually even better than the movie.
Was it really?
Kev, let me tell you this. You start watching the Friday Night Lights series, you can't stop. You literally are like, I'm going to put sandbags down in the door. I'm going to shut my phone off. I'm going to eat bread and peanut butter for 3 days, and I'm going to watch all the seasons.
Well, now that I stay up past 7 o'clock at night, I can watch stuff like that. So thanks for the tip.
I think you will like it. It has all the components of a Kevin Kline type series. You know, it's got some good football. It's got some sensitive moments because we know you can be sensitive.
Very.
And of course, it's got pretty women too.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's the whole reason I got Varsity Blues on my list, because of Allie Larder and a ice cream sundae. Are you kidding me?
That's so funny.
That kind of stuff happened to you in high school. It never happened to me.
Yeah, that whole thing. I can't even. I'm so embarrassed that we were this far into that top 5 list before Varsity Blues and Friday Night Lights. I can literally hear people screaming at the podcast, going, "Wildcats!"
Well,
what?
We can take it to social. Let's take it to social. Let them yell at us. Let's take it to social.
Let's do it. Top 5 football movies of all time in honor of the reunion of Tim Tuttle and Kevin Kline, and also Super Bowl week. You like how I trailed off there, and also Super Bowl week.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we got priorities.
I can't. There's a million of them, and after the fact, like I'm gonna go do a second round of cardio later this afternoon, and I'll be doing a little cardio, and I'll be like, why didn't you mention that, Tuttle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll have top 5 regret, which I guess is something you can get from your little feature here.
Oh, dude, it's constant. It's constant regret because, man, I forgot this, man, I forgot that. But it's a perfect component for you to chime in on the social media and say, oh man, what an idiot, I forgot this. So it's a topic that'll never end. Yeah.
So if I have to go back, and order it, if you're officially going to put it on social media, I got it as Friday Night Lights, Varsity Blues. What's Denzel?
Any Given? Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Any Given Sunday, and then I guess I got to go Rudy.
Okay.
Those are mine.
It's not surprising that you've gone Rudy. You're a Catholic boy raised in Indiana. Jeez.
My mom would be crying somewhere if I didn't have some Notre Dame in there.
Yeah, Rudy is all about Rudy, a walk-on player that gets to play one play at Notre Dame.
My mom would be like, "Oh, Tim, you had several opportunities there to mention the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Well, at least you mentioned the Packers.
That's your best impression ever. Your mom.
She was raised in Wisconsin. After her dad lost the farm and they had to move there.
Way to go, Grandpa Schmidt. So what are you binging? What are you binge watching? Because you mentioned Friday Night Lights.
What am I binging right now? I'm watching Suits right now.
Oh, dude, that is so good.
I'm having trouble getting past him, like, as not a lawyer though, and he's like an investment guy. I don't like that. I'm in that season right now.
Oh yeah. They could have stopped that the season before.
I don't know why they did that. It's kind of like when everybody was gung ho about Friends. And then Phoebe decides, well, I'm going to have babies for my brother, who played by Giovanni Ribisi.
Ribisi, yeah.
And I was just like, that is just too weird. Yes, I know Lisa Kudrow is pregnant and having kids, but there's a much better way you could do this plot line than I'm doing it for my brother. It's weird. It's weird.
It was a lot of weird.
So I was out on that one. But I'll get past the whole because I know he's going to go back and be a lawyer on Suits.
Yeah, Suits is great, man. We watched all of that. They got a new spinoff coming up pretty soon.
Kev, can I ask you a question? And this is very important.
Sure. That always freaks me out because.
Have you decided to follow the advice I have given you for many years now? Have you watched Walter White in Breaking Bad?
I watched that series, the entire from start to finish, I think in about 3 weeks.
Yes.
It was
we hadn't done that
amazing.
when we were together. Is that incredible or what?
Dude, I'm so glad I didn't get hooked on it while we were together because I would have never gotten any sleep. It's fascinating. It was riveting. It was absolutely unbelievable. But let me say this. Up until the last season, I liked Better Call Saul better.
Really?
Oh, I love Better Call Saul.
I do too. I don't think it holds up in regards to Breaking Bad, but it is a nice 1B. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the only one that seems to think that I liked Saul better. Saul probably wasn't better than Breaking Bad. I just liked it better, I think, because Odenkirk was just such a slime ball.
Oh, just perfect.
He was unbelievable.
and you know for a second you would hire him because he would do whatever it takes to get you off.
That's right. And the other thing that surprised me about Better Call Saul is, Michael McKean, we only know him from comedy movies. We know him from Saturday Night Live. We know him from Spinal Tap. We know him from Best in Show and in that group right there. But boy, he played a jerk too.
Yeah. He was awesome. And, who's the guy the fixer, Airman Trout, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great job on that role.
So, dude, let me tell you a story here. My friend Bob, Trisha's old boss in Sugarland, he and his wife were living in Thousand Oaks, California. They went to a wedding, and the bride, I think it was her grandfather or her uncle, was Mike, the fixer.
Really?
Yep. And so they got seated at the same table with him, and they're huge fans, but they didn't want to fan geek out on him, And so they just started talking to him, and all he wanted to talk about was their kids.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could see that side of him, when he's dealing with his granddaughter in the series. You can see he has that side in him too, but that's so amazing.
And they eventually...
and Kev, let's not forget, we remember when we were kids, we saw him in Do the Right Thing, but Gus Fring...
Oh, yeah.
That is an unbelievable character.
Yeah, that was an amazing character. Yeah.
But you have to admit, probably one of the best characters in Breaking Bad outside of Walter White was Tuco.
Dude, I used Tuco Salamanca as one of my racing names in one of my recent marathons. When they let you personalize your bib, and so instead of putting my name on, I put characters that I love in movies, but they can't be the lead. They can only be a supporting role. And Tuco Salamanca was amazing.
Is that not an incredible character? And from what I hear, we don't know in person, he's the nicest dude ever behind the scenes, but he played the psycho drug dealer just so well.
Yeah, you couldn't be like that in real life. You die of stress. You die of somebody would kill you for being that.
Blown up.
Yeah, you would get blown up.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen to you.
Have you seen him in the old TV show The Closer or Major Crimes?
Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I love that you have, because for years, and I'm going to probably steal this from you, Kev. For years, I said, well, Kev, what do you, if you had to, what would you sign into a hotel under a fake name under? And you never had anything. You're like, well, I will never be big enough star to ever have to do that. And of course, that I always said Jose Camarillo.
Yeah, it just rolls right off the tongue for you.
Yeah, and you remember when Timmy was born, that they were trying to see the Tim and Erica's baby at the hospital, and they were concerned security-wise. They wanted to put him under a different name, and we did. He is Jose Camarillo Jr.
Oh, the junior.
Yeah, and I still get some mail on occasion from the hospital saying Jose Camarillo Jr.
That's really funny.
I think I want to steal Tuco Salamanca. That's a great one. Yeah, good catch there, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm done with it. I only used the character one time in a race, and then I moved on. So, like this past January when I ran the Houston Marathon, I was Brooks Hatlin. Remember Brooks Hatlin from Shawshank Redemption?
I do.
Yeah, James Whitmore.
Can I ask you this? How many people know what you're doing and will mention something?
None. But if it's one person, no, seriously, people, they'll say, "Go, Brooks, go!" And I'm like, dude, if you only knew. Like, I was Miley Cyrus in Paris, France. I put Miley Cyrus on my.
You put Miley Cyrus on your bib?
I put Miley Cyrus on my bib in Paris, France.
They had no idea.
I'm pretty sure they had an idea there that I wasn't Miley Cyrus. But,
okay.
But yeah, but no, when I do fictional characters, no, nobody. But if there's that one person that does know, dude, that makes it all worthwhile.
That's it. That's all I need is one. Our policy has always been for, going on 28 years, if one person laughs, we win.
And it's usually me that laughs. So yeah, we always win.
That's it. We just, I don't care. I got one. So I went fishing and I caught one small fish, and I'll go home and I'll be happy.
Hey, I'm curious to find out your reaction to this. We woke up to the news this morning that Toby Keith ain't no longer breathing like he once was.
No, man, that's
Oh,
that's
you got
awful.
I got a reaction. You smirked.
I knew you were. I knew Kevin Kline. For those unaware, Kevin Kline is one of the things he's famous for is being the first to say something inappropriate. That's his. That's his thing. That's his thing. And God bless him. Yes, he will spend an eternity in hell.
Yeah,
but he sticks with it regardless. Good one, Kev. My question is how long did it take you to write it?
Immediately when Trish told me this morning, hey, were you in Oklahoma this weekend? I'm like, yeah. She goes, did you see the Toby Keith news? I'm like, no. She's like, Toby Keith died on the 5th. I'm like, well, that was yesterday, honey. That was yesterday. She's like, oh. I said, yeah, he ain't breathing like he once was.
There you go. Just like that, Kevin. Yeah, I tell you, I saw that. I was bummed. I mean, that's first off, Toby Keith. That is one individual living the American dream.
Oh my God, totally.
He was an oil guy. He was on the derricks, and he's just really getting down and dirty before the music career took off. And he ended up having his hands in successful restaurants and other businesses. A billionaire with still a stack of #1 hits, a swagger, unapologetic. That guy right there, true American. And I'm bummed out that we lost him so quickly. Obviously, his suffering is over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He had stomach cancer, and he had a brutal battle with stomach cancer. He has one of my all-time favorite country music lyrics. We'll put a boot in your ass.
I know, man. I know. I love it. He has so many poignant lyrics. I mean, As Good As I Once Was, that's a really good one. Should Have Been a Cowboy, another great one. And the one, Don't Let the Old Man In, the recent one, that was part of the Clint Eastwood movie. I mean, he really has some introspective and really effective lyrics. So I got to give him credit for being a good lyricist too.
I'm surprised he sang Should Have Been a Cowboy because, he's from Moore, Oklahoma, right down the street from Oklahoma University. He is a Sooner. He bleeds maroon and white, but their rival is the Oklahoma State Cowboys. It's just ironic to me that he recorded that song and, didn't pass it up.
Yeah. I have to say this, though. Terrible golfer.
Wait a minute. Not the worst you've ever played with.
Oh, you're not that bad, Kev. You just like bunted, though.
I was thinking more Charles Barkley, but yeah, I stuck too. I stuck too. I know. Tuttle's like, hey, Klein, let's play a foursome in a charity tournament. You hit first because I know it's not going to be far, but it'll be in the middle, and then I'll just rip it and grip it. Yeah, no, I know, but I was thinking more Charles Barkley.
No, Kevin was right down the middle, 175 yards.
With a driver.
So we always knew we had one in the middle.
Yeah.
But Barkley, that was terrible. That golf swing, man. I'm like, really? You're like one of the elite athletes of the backside of the 20th century, and your golf swing looks like this. Plus, you have $200 million liquid where you can literally have David Ledbetter flown to your compound, spend the entire weekend with you, and get you on track, and your golf swing looks like that. That is an American travesty, Charles Barkley, and unnecessary.
Hey, what's it like playing in front of a gallery? Because you played the Bruno's charity tournament, and Barkley and Mia Hamm were on your foursome, and that's
no. Actually, it was Barkley was in the group behind.
Oh, okay.
It was Bo Jackson.
Oh, that's right, Bo Jackson.
Bo knows everything except golf.
Yeah, no, he had a horrible swing too.
Yeah, he hooked things a lot. Kev, let me tell you, there's the thing I got out of that for the Bruno's Memorial Classic, Birmingham, Alabama, 2004. We have Hubert Green. He is the pro, the PGA Senior Tour pro. I'm playing with Bo Jackson and Mia Hamm, the soccer player, the ladies soccer player from the U.S. Team back in the late 90s. Now she is the wife of Nomar Garciaparra, the shortstop for the Red Sox for so many years. because I'm in that group, I have huge galleries following me for 18 holes.
Yeah, it was a big gallery.
And Kev, you actually saw the 18th hole with the huge gallery, really big gallery, where it was a par 5. And I know you remember this.
Oh, I totally do.
I crushed the ball off the tee. I mean, I probably hit it 310 right down the middle. Even Hubert's like, you know what, we're going to win this thing, Timmy, if you can just shoot a par here. And that's a good drive. I'm like, oh, boy, now you've done it, Hubert. And Bo Jackson is even looking at me, and he's going, you got this, man. You got this, right? You got this, right? And I hit the second shot, crushed it. I mean, my 3 wood, about 240, 245, ends up just to the right of the green on a par 5. I'm thinking I'm going to get up and down and birdie and be a real hero. Crowd's going nuts. They're walking with me as I'm walking down the to that third shot, and I'm just like, this is going to be awesome, man. If you remember the gallery in the thousands at that point.
Oh, I was part of it. Yeah.
And I got to my ball with my 60-degree wedge. I just needed to flip it up and down. I chunked that thing so bad, it was unbelievable. The worst sound any human being can ever hear is 5,000-6,000 people going, oh. And then Bo Jackson walks over to me and goes, you effed up. But he used the word.
Yeah.
So that was the last interaction I ever had with Bo Jackson. You effed up.
Hey, you at least had an interaction with the greatest athlete to ever walk the planet.
Yeah, he said something to me.
That's right.
He knew my name for about 2 hours.
That's right. 2
I
hours.
win.
2 hours. I thought a round of golf took you 5 hours.
Oh, it took him the first 2 hours to learn it.
Okay.
First I was dude. I was I think I was Tommy for a couple holes. Tommy.
Yeah.
And I was man. I was man for a couple holes, and bro, you know. And then it's finally, I started playing a little well. He's like, "Oh, hey Tim, good job."
I was making fun of you telling Kathy how long it took you to take a round of golf. No, I'll be on for about 5 hours.
You know what? I don't know if you remember. I used to play golf with him. His name was Jay, and he was actually he's a bald guy, looked like you.
Know exactly what he looked like. I totally remember Jay.
Yeah.
Friend of ours in Birmingham.
For many years, my first wife, Kathy, thought a round of golf was 8 hours. Until he mentioned on the radio one time when we put him on for the last time that, hey, Tim, it's only going to be about 4 hours. We're just going to play a round of golf. I was like, oh. And I got home that day. She goes, what do you do for the other 4 hours, Timothy?
Another round.
Of course, we'd go play poker in the clubhouse.
Yeah. No.
And I didn't have to do diapers.
Oh my gosh, man! I don't know how you did that. Diapers, holy smokes! I can't do it.
You were you watched Audrey. Audrey's now 22. You watched her, the first people to watch her, like first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I guess when Audrey had a diaper problem, that went to Trish.
Oh, that was all Trish. Yeah, that was all Trish. Yeah.
You couldn't even look at her.
I can't be in the same room. Even when our dogs do it, Tim, I can't be in the same room. I leave.
How does your wife put up with you?
Medication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More
for me, less for
you'll
her.
be fine.
Yeah. Do you remember when I held Audrey for the first time in the hospital?
Yes.
What'd she do?
She threw up on you.
Blood.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kev, that's the first night, and there's still all kinds of things going on with the system. They maybe haven't cleared everything out that's in there. So
yeah, I didn't know that though.
Yeah, you freaked out.
Oh, I totally did.
She's like, the show when Tim gets back from maternity leave will be very awkward because I killed his daughter within the first few hours of her life.
Yeah, yeah, that was a scary moment for me. I had no idea. So, but I can't wait till she gets married because when we send her wedding gift, there's definitely going to be some sort of a mention about that.
Literally, I mean, you guys were up there like they were cutting the umbilical cord. You guys were up at the hospital. I thought that was great. It showed support. Kathy thought it was a little early.
Yeah, but she wasn't a big fan of me trying to get in there.
Yeah.
I want to see the cut. I want to see the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, some seriously fun times and good times. How do you think age has changed you?
How has age changed me? Again, I probably I don't let as much bother me, and in all honesty, I just don't care what people think. I just don't. It used to bother me when people had issues with me. It used to bother me when, I wouldn't get my way. Nothing. It just rolls off the back now. Literally, just rolls off. I don't care.
Yeah, but I always thought you handled criticism. I always thought you handled negative social media comments. I never knew it bothered you.
It did. I always laugh at people that had issues with the show. I'm like, you have issues with the show. You got the easiest job in the world. Turn the channel. Those people always made me laugh. I was like, why are you here then? I'm just talking like on a day-to-day in dealing with people and dealing with situations. I really am much easier just letting things go. Kev, you can remember, I used to be, I'm going to get you.
Oh, I know.
I had a list.
Oh, you don't anymore?
No, I let that all go.
Really?
There's a point where you just let it go. It's just, it's such negative, poisonous toxin. I guess a lot of this is, I have really over the last year and a half taken up meditation.
Okay.
Like every single day, I'll meditate for 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes?
Yeah, just 10 minutes.
That's all it takes.
And then when something comes up that gives me anxiety or something, may give me, I'll do an emergency maintenance 10 minutes. But yeah, that right there, I mean, it completely resets you. You visualize the rest of the day or the next day, and you have that time, and anything bothering you. And another thing I do is I put myself in the other person's, I put them in their place a lot.
Okay.
Like, okay, there's a reason why this person is that way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a childhood thing. Maybe mama didn't hug him enough or her enough. Maybe, all people do is they shove it down. And then it was on this day with their interaction with me, they decided to let what happened back in 1991 out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I've had that conversation with a couple of other people who, as a matter of fact, I had it with our old boss, John Lennox. You don't know what that person's going through that day, Exactly. So just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me ask you this, because you, in all of my dealings with people, you are the one person who I never thought could turn their brain off. So how do you take me through a meditation?
Well, it's the breathing is big, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then just a complete head clear. I try to get to a point where I just black out and have no thoughts whatsoever. And I actually hit that point probably usually about 2 minutes in.
Really?
Where I just have zero thoughts in my head whatsoever. I'm just literally, because I do it on my bed, laying on my back, and I just feel like I'm in a cloud. I'm weightless, and I'm just completely calm. And then once I can get the blackout in the head, I go into either visualization mode. Hey, what's my day going to be like? Or I start to pick apart the problem that I'm trying to address by meditating. And I just a lot more thinking involved instead of reactionary,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I pay $160 a week to talk to somebody about this. I don't have to do that anymore. I just need to learn how to meditate.
I tell you, Kevin, it's huge. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of issues too that I probably should be talking to somebody. I probably should be doing that. I got probably to work out some stuff from the childhood, but it has been really. I hold no grudges. I mean, I can name you a list of people who have done me wrong that I should probably seek vengeance upon and destroy. I think about them, and I'm like, I come to the point where I feel sorry for them that they compromise themselves by doing that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
I feel sorry for him, and I let it go.
The last conversation I had was with ring announcer and octagon announcer Joe Martinez, and he's very spiritual. And he said, "Do you realize the amount of energy it takes to hate, as opposed to the amount of energy it takes to love?"
Exactly.
Yeah, he said, if you're hanging on to hate, he says you're driving yourself to an early grave with the amount of stress you're creating for yourself.
Exactly. Now you still want. I still want the motivator.
Yeah.
Like these people that I've mentioned that I've let it go, I want them, I want them to see me. How you like me now?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You still want to have that moment.
Yeah.
A tip of the cap to Toby Keith. How you like me now?
Yeah, there you go.
So so that'll always be there, but I don't wish harm upon them. I don't have negative thoughts about them. I actually come to the point where I feel sorry.
It's like I told my mom once, I don't forgive and I don't forget. I just move on.
Well, sometimes though, you got to forgive.
No, I don't.
If they show that they want forgiveness, if they're contrite in it, you got to have room for that. Because sometimes, Kev, later down the road, people will be like, they'll have their discovery moment of going, oh man, yeah, I didn't mean to do that to Kevin. There's some, I have some of that stuff with you too, where I have regrets, of how I've dealt with you and some of the things that I've said to you and some of the ways I've treated you. It wasn't out of malice. But in looking back, I think to myself, I could have done that better.
Oh, I never took offense. And, we were, and you're probably talking about when we were really, really young and we were totally driven and motivated by our own, I guess, our own motivations and our own desires. As you get older, bro, you start to think about others. You start to think about what you can do to impact somebody else's life. Dude, there should be no regret on your part. No regret whatsoever.
I guess what I should have shown appreciation more. I should have been like, man, I couldn't have got here without you. I couldn't have been to this point without you more than you did it to me. You've let me know, hey man, I could never have been here. You've done that and I haven't done it with you. And that's a thing that I regret.
It's all right. I appreciate you acknowledging that, but totally unnecessary. But yeah, dude, I've long said that I always wanted to be a morning show person. But when I met you, I realized I couldn't be a standalone morning show person. You brought out the best in me, and I have a really hard time with people not liking me. You know that about me. I have to be liked. I don't necessarily have to like you, but I need you to like me.
That's so funny too. Yeah. That is an interesting dynamic about you, is you want everybody to like you, but you have a nice little list of people you do not like.
I know. I really do. And it's a flaw. I get it. But you always took the brunt of that. You always took the brunt of management. And your personality is 1,000 times stronger than mine. So yeah, man, I realized real early that we would be successful if I let go of my dream of being the focal point of a show. No big deal, bro. It worked out, man.
All right, everything works out, man. And here we are again. Can you believe this, Kev? This has been fun.
What are you done? I'm not.
I'm not either. I'm just saying it's been fun.
Dude,
this is awesome.
When you're yourself and you have like-minded people, it should be fun. It should always be fun. If it's not fun, then you have to get out. That's what happened to me. That's why I got out, Tim. It wasn't the industry, and it wasn't the camaraderie that I had with you and Erica and Haas. It was the fun was being taken away from me from upper management.
When they switched ownership, the ownership situation just became ugly, and people saw it happening. The people with vision that were in management positions above us, and they started bailing out. And Kev, you saw the handwriting on the wall. I still had some bills to pay, so I had to hang in there. But
I knew that.
So hey, man, I understand what you did and why you retired.
And now you understand why it's so important to get back get back to it, because it's not about the recognition, and it's not about, going somewhere and having people say, "Oh, I love your show. That's awesome," and everything. It's just you and I personally need to release creativity.
Yeah. See, to me, it's like you and me are just having fun. We're riffing. We're in our little treehouse again. And if it appeals to other people and they're down with it, go ahead and eavesdrop. We don't care. That's great. And if there's a market for that, that's awesome. But, it's fun to just do this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also fun to see the changes that you go through. I mean, to me, I'm in a position like I see it as kind of like a Mike Tyson thing.
Okay. So?
Mike Tyson for decades, bad guy.
Yeah.
Villain. What he did to that girl. Talking about eating children. Talking about destroying people. Yeah, completely annihilating and destroying us, complete destruction. That guy. And now he is a fun-loving, teddy bear type guy that you literally could just sit there and laugh with and have a good time with. Much different person, Kev, than when we were at the Tyson Holyfield ear-biting fight in 1997 in Las Vegas. When he was just, you could see it in his eyes when we saw him the days before the fight.
Oh yeah, he was an animal, total animal. And you can actually talk about George Foreman too, because George Foreman made that attitude and personality transformation and adjustment. But yeah, Tyson would be a fantastic example. And with the Super Bowl being held in Las Vegas, we should probably talk about how you almost got taken out, actually.
On several occasions. For those unaware, I could have died in 1997 in Las Vegas, Nevada, probably been buried out in the desert somewhere. And if Kevin would have witnessed it, he'd have been right next to me. But because I put myself into some bad positions. First off, we were big time friends with Don King, and I don't know how that happened. Don King loved you and me, and I don't know why, and I don't know how it happened. Do you?
Yeah, I actually do have a bit of insight into that. It's because we were real to Don. We did not blow smoke up Don. We did not, we were just real people to him, and we were fans of his sport. And yeah, Michael Marley told me that when after we got done interviewing Don King, he said, "You guys got Don King to do something he rarely does, and that is drop his guard, drop his persona." He said,
"Yeah." I was very surprised at how open he was, because I was thinking to myself when we were interviewing him, and this is late 1996. We're interviewing him, and he's talking about the Nashville fights that were coming up. He was saying things that I'd never heard about Don King before, that I didn't know. And I could tell even some of his people that were his handlers were in there were going wide-eyed going, wow, did he just say that to these guys?
Well, his catchphrase, "Only in America." And he says it with that robust bravado. After he said that, you said, and we're live on the air, after he said that, you said, "Hey, Don, do you want to stick around for another episode or for another segment?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure, I'd like to do that." And it was just like no character, no nothing. It was just a guy saying, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." And that's when Michael Marley pulled me aside during the commercial break, and he goes, "You guys don't realize what you just did." He goes, "You guys really don't realize what you just did. You're so comfortable and so real that Don just let his guard down with you guys. Yeah. You're in with him."
And then, he gave, first off in the Nashville fights, I mean, we're ringside, we're getting taken care of VIP, and this is early in our radio career. I mean, we were still in our mid-20s, Kev.
Really early.
In this gig about 5 or 6 months at the time into our morning show gig. And suddenly we're FOD, friends of Don King.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we find out he is going to fly us, you and I pay the bill, fly us to Las Vegas, put us up in the MGM Grand Hotel for fight week, and then have us on Radio Row broadcasting. And we were freaked out because when we got there, I mean, it was only the who's who in radio on Radio Row. I mean, the big money guys, Jim Rome and Pharrell and Ron and Ron from Florida, who I met later. Just the big syndicated shows, and Tuttle and Klein, these new guys in their mid-20s from Nashville.
It was fantastic. And yeah, we were at the fight, the ear biting. We were there. And then after the fight.
in the days before, I almost didn't make it a couple of times. I don't know which of these you remember, if any, Kev, is the time when we were doing the morning show and piping it back to Nashville. And I did my Mike Tyson imitation. Oh, man, this stinks, man. This is ludicrous. And Mike Tyson, with the towel around his neck, walks past me and shoots me a look like he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, you remember that?
I do. It was after one of his public workouts leading up to the fight.
He stopped dead in his tracks and looked at me. He's got the towel around his neck. He's sweating. And I've never seen a look like that before. I mean, don't get me wrong. A couple of my ex-wives have come close with that look to me, but I think Mike Tyson stopped my watch. I think I looked down and my watch had stopped.
Like Steve Rails back in Helter Skelter is Charles Manson. Oh yeah. Man, that freaked me out.
I thought I was dead. I thought he was going to jump over the table and kill me. I was like, what do I do here? You know, how do I defend myself from Mike Tyson?
See, that was Tyson's aggression back then. Now, if you were to do that to him, he'd probably give you that same look, but it would be, how is a white guy able to impersonate me?
Oh, man, it's really easy. I just do this and a little bit of a left. It's really awesome. It's ludicrous that I can even do it.
Look at this stupid white guy.
I mean, obviously, it's over the top and ridiculous.
Oh, that's what all impressions are.
I think later that day or maybe the next day, Kev, when we got done with our broadcast and we go back into the MGM Grand Hotel, we get on the elevator and it's just you and me and this black dude, and he's standing right next to me, and he's looking at me funny. And I decide I'm gonna bow up. I'm gonna bow. I'm not gonna be intimidated. I'm gonna bow up. He gets off on the floor before we do. And what did you say to me? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I totally remember who it was. Yeah, I'm like, dude, you were just gonna throw down with Roy Jones Jr.
Pound for pound,
best
the greatest
fighter
in the world at the time. Literally, I mean. We were about the same size. I may have been even a little bit bigger than him.
Yeah, you were.
So that's why I did the bow up. But he literally would show me my kidney within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Stupid. Kids are stupid. You know?
But
then I guess I showed some stupidity right after the fight when we went back to the MGM Grand Hotel. That was my idiot week of all time. Yeah, this one took the cake.
This one was amazing because everybody is milling about in the lobby of the MGM Grand. The fight ended with Tyson biting Evander Holyfield's ear in half. And so there's dismay, there's adrenaline, there's shock, there's anger. And it filtered out into the lobby of the MGM Grand. And Todd Newton from E! Entertainment Television was there with us, and we're all standing there. And all of a sudden we hear pop, 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 pop. People just start hitting the floor, just get on the ground. Todd Newton lays on top of me. There's only one person standing still in the lobby of the MGM Grand. Who might that have been, Tim?
That was me. Yeah. I was just looking around at why is everybody on the ground? Like everybody, like hundreds of people are on the ground, and I'm standing. I'm like, what's going on? And then Newton finally says, "Tuttle, get down."
Yeah.
Suburban white boy, not used to that whole shooting thing.
Well, it wasn't a shooting.
Yeah, so it wasn't a champagne cork or something like that?
Yeah, somebody said it was a champagne cork. Champagne corks go off one time. This went off 3 times. And then you see 3 gentlemen running sprinting behind the registration desk of the MGM Grand. That wasn't because of a champagne cork.
Now, I'll give you this. A champagne cork may have started it and triggered it and got people freaked out. True. There was gunfire. True. And there was, gaming tables being tipped over and chips being grabbed.
Oh, and broken glass all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, true. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that was funny because that was right after we just walked past Johnny Cochran.
Yep. I remember that.
For those unaware, when you get a big fight like that, particularly when you're talking about Tyson, Holyfield, everybody on planet Earth that is somebody in terms of celebrity is there. And just who we saw that week, it's unbelievable. You're right. We're close buddies with Todd Newton from E! Entertainment. We see Johnny Cochran, oh, hey, there's Tiger Woods. It's just such a surreal thing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was talking to somebody who lives in Las Vegas now, and I said, I've never seen a more chaotic place than that event, that city for that event. And I can't imagine what it's like in Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Oh, and Kev, let's look at Vegas for the Super Bowl. How is that? I mean, it's such a great situation out there. And I know somebody who's like an NFL draft follower, and he told me he went to, he goes to NFL draft every April. And they had it in Vegas this past year, and he goes, it should be here every year. And you're going to say the same thing about the Super Bowl. Everything's right there. Everything's completely contained. Anything you want is in arm's reach. I mean, I think the NFL is going to have trouble keeping it out of Las Vegas going forward because it's just such the perfect environment.
Except for the fact that they promise these cities with new stadiums that they're going to get a Super Bowl because it's an influx of capital for the city. How do you offset that then?
Well, every 31st year, a different NFL city will get a piece of it. I mean, it's like, hey, do you want 10% of $150 million, or do you want $11 million? You want 10%, the Vegas. And Kev, what about those cities that don't host Super Bowls? They don't host them up in northern cities.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to see a Baltimore Super Bowl. You're not going to see a New England Super Bowl. And God, hell damnation if there'll ever be a Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, a Buffalo Super Bowl. So, just give every year, give a different team a cut of it and just keep it in Las Vegas.
Well, I mean, there's some validity to that argument. They got a great stadium. It seats 72,000. It's one of the larger stadiums, if not the largest stadium. Well, AT&T in the Meadowlands might be bigger, but yeah, it's one of the top three for sure.
Kev, that is the only city that I can think of in the United States, maybe even the world, that is specifically built to have 2 million people come in at any time and visit and do tourism. It's built for that, the entire city.
You're a gaming guy, and I think that was one of the reasons why they held up Las Vegas getting a team for the longest time. They didn't know how gambling would affect the team or the league. Do you think that because of the NFL's partnership with DraftKings and FanDuel, that we've seen some fix?
God, Kev, I don't want to believe it. I don't want to. I mean, yeah, again, you and I talked about this. We grew up watching football, and it's like in my fabric, in my DNA. The last thing I would ever want anybody to say is they're fixing it. But there's always so many questionable calls at key times by the referees that do swing games, legitimately swing games, that you'd almost be a fool not to think there's some of that playing out.
Conversely, the cross argument or the counter argument to that would be the reason that those calls are missed is because the game is so much faster now than it used to be. And if you really look at it, the referees get more right than they get wrong, but the ones they get wrong are so glaring, dude.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point right there. I mean, you got linebackers now that are running 4.4.
Yeah, at 300 pounds.
These referees, mid-60s, late 50s, you can't get there quick enough. And if you can, are your eyes quick enough?
Yeah. I know.
You're at the point almost where, and I hate to say this because I've seen Terminator, where you got to bring the robots in.
Well, I mean, it's happening in every industry.
I mean, they have ways now where instantly you can run a play, and instantly the AI could tell you whether it's a clean play or not, and they can see everything. They can see every offensive lineman. They can see, make sure it's a clean block. They can see every pass interference. Oh, he tugged the jersey right there. Now, the only problem with that is they say that there are 2 or 3 penalties that can be called if you're getting chintzy on every NFL play that's run.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. There has to be that measurement of what can I get away with, because if I don't, that other guy's going to exploit me something fierce.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about stakes that high, you're always looking for an edge. I mean, that's why I always laughed at, everybody freaking out about the Astros signal stealing. I mean, Kev, we played ball. If we could steal signals, we would do it all day long.
Damn straight.
if I'm at the plate and I know that's a fastball, and I know that's coming, I'm gonna dig in. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not trying to steal the signals, then you're not playing baseball.
You're an
I mean,
idiot.
literally, when you die and go to heaven, Ty Cobb will come and slap you in the face. Wait, he's probably in hell.
Probably, I was going to say, probably the dirtiest player to ever play the game. So, yeah, he might not
but
be waiting for you at the pearly gates.
Will be like, really? You had the opportunity to know what the pitcher's going to throw and you didn't go for it? I'm disappointed, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, and
am I right?
Your accountant would be disappointed too because you're keeping money from them. Because remember, man, the more hits you get, the more dollars you get.
Exactly. So when I read those comments, the anti-Astro stuff, I'm just like, you can always tell the people who didn't play any ball.
Okay, but remember, the greatest sports quote we ever heard, and this pertains to what you're talking about, was when a New York Yankee fan was talking about Roger Clemens, and they said, "Yeah, we know he's an a-hole, but he's our a-hole." Meaning, yeah, they're cheating, but there are cheaters.
Well, Kev, the funniest thing about the whole thing is the Astros were indicted, crucified by Major League Baseball, and we only found out later, oh yeah, the Yankees were doing the same crap, and so are the Red Sox, but they're our beloved franchises, and we decided not to mess with them. We're going to take it as far away from New York City, where the offices of the MLB are, and let the people in Houston deal with it. That is the most ridiculous thing that the Major League Baseball did. Cowardice. I still think the commissioner wasn't booed enough when he was here in Houston for the World Series in 22.
Got your golden gooses, man.
Exactly. And that's how it is. I mean, Kev, I'm the biggest fan in history of Michael Jordan. You know that.
I know that.
Michael Jordan, to me, 8 feet tall and throws thunderbolts with his right arm. He's God. But as you watch some of the things, you realize he got away with murder. Absolute murder as the golden boy, big money guy. I mean, yeah, first off, they would get a little chintzy sometimes on calling fouls on him. And second off, he would get away with some stuff on defense also because they're protecting the golden boy,
Yeah, well, that's why people tuned in. People wanted to see Mike. Be like Mike.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have Michael Jordan foul out in the third quarter? Man. Because you could just hear the channels change. You could hear it. Well, 12 million channels just changed.
Yeah.
Not going to happen, buddy.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, man, this has been a blast, bro. I think this is fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, hey, man, let's do this again.
Let's do it again. Kev, I posted on my social media a little bit. There seems to be a desire that a few people would like us to start officially a Tuttle and Klein podcast. Should we do it based on today? What do you think?
God help us all. I think so. And like you said, Tim, all we need is one. We get one person to listen.
That's it.
That's it.
I need one download. And I'm going to say, Mom, you can't be it, okay?
That's right. Oh, hell, man. My mom doesn't even download my stuff. That's the biggest
Great time, brother. Had a good time with you.
Thanks. Yeah, I had a blast, man. My thanks to Tim Tuttle for 25 years together and for all the entertainment that we've created together. And thank you for listening and for all the kind words that you've posted on Tim's social media and mine as well. I'm flattered to be remembered and I'm humbled to be missed. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the Fuzzy Mike, please go ahead, subscribe, and leave a rating and review. I very much appreciate you doing that. Feel free to share the Fuzzy Mike with your friends and family, like Abigail did. She wrote in and told me they call it family time. Her mom, dad, brothers, Noah, and Micah, they watch the episodes together. Thanks, Abs. To stay connected with the Fuzzy Mike, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. For video, please subscribe to the Fuzzy Mike YouTube channel. The Fuzzy Mike is hosted and produced by Kevin Klein. Production elements by Zach Sheesh at the Radio Farm. Social media director is Trish Klein. I'll be back next Tuesday with a new episode of the Fuzzy Mike, where we'll explore the most bizarre crimes to happen in the state of Florida. Oh, there are some strange ones. And remember, the all-new Tuttle and Klein podcast with new episodes every Monday and Thursday. So grateful for you. Thank you.
That's it for the Fuzzy Mike. Thank you. The Fuzzy Mike with Kevin Klein.
Fuzzy Mike.